yeah. This is the part where the car goes woo. Wiggly woo. Meow, 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 meow. Meow, 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 meow. How long does that sustain for? Meow, meow, meow. Oh, it's the end. Hey, everybody. What's up? How's it going? It's Friday. It's Friday out there, folks. 64 degrees and sunny. Wait, no, never mind. 48 degrees and sunny. Partly sunny. Sunny, partly cloudy, partly rainy. Intermittent showers. I've always had a laugh. I've always had a laugh at the weather people in Western Washington who have to figure out the 9,000 ways to describe it's gonna rain, it's gonna sun, it's gonna partly cloudy, then it's gonna rain again, but it'll be a little bit windy, but it won't be windy, but it might be a little windy, but then it won't be, but then it'll rain a little bit, but then the sun will come out, then the sun will go away, and it'll rain again, and then it'll be cloudy. Yeah. Is it partly sunny? Is it partly cloudy? Is it mostly cloudy? Is it mostly rainy? Is it partly rainy? Is it showers intermittently at times? Oh, yeah. You know what I'm talking about.
All 4 seasons in one day today.
That's right. All 4 seasons coming at you right into your eyes and face and neck area. Eyes, face, neck area. You know what I'm saying? It's Friday, the 25th of March, 2022, which is the year that we're in right now. I don't know if you guys have noticed. It's the year 2022, and we are here. We're live. It's the YouTube. That's where we are, on the YouTube. Tubing it up. Going early today. I don't know if anybody noticed. We're going early. So because it's early, we got to get a traffic report and weather on the 10s, right? Weather. Earth. Traffic. Bad. Okay, moving on. Yep, there's your traffic and weather for today. James is here, Sci-Fi Swordsman, Metal Fish, Aubrey, Wesley's Fish Club, Michael Sarr, Masters Aquatics, just call me Eduardo, Two Bros Aquatics, and Crypt Keeper Aquatics. But who was first today? Who? Am I an owl? No. It's Frank Dominguez, everybody, was first to the chat. Oh, there we go, buddy. There we go. I'm noticing we have a couple of green names in the chat, which means those people are members. If you want to become a member, click this link. I put it in the chat for people with iPhones because people with iPhones are unable to find the join button. So if you're one of the... how many people have iPhones? Oh, hold on. How many people have iPhones? 1 billion people. Okay, if you're 1 billion people, go ahead. Go ahead, 1 billion people. Click that link with your iPhone and become a channel member today. It'll turn your name green. You'll become eligible to join our Discord chat, and you can post pictures. You can post pictures of your fish tank. Your fish tank? Yeah, there we go. Yeah. Fish tank. Yeah. Uh-huh. And ask questions and talk about all sorts of stuff with our community over there. Our community writ large is up to 200-ish people. I can't math that. It's like a little over 200 people. You know, good times. Good times for everybody. Help with your aquarium stuff. Help with your political stuff. Help with your day-to-day, just whatever. Or just chit-chat. We can talk about whatever you guys want over there. You can also join our Minecraft server, which is free now. Anybody can join our Minecraft server nowadays if you want. It's open to the public. And we also have a Patreon in case you want to join up on Patreon for a cheaper rate. You can do that. That's something that you could do. And some people will go like, why would you do that? And you go like, well, because this show is funded by the fans, and the more funding we have, the more time I'm able to make fish content for you guys. So that's the motivation. That's basically what it is. Do you have a job?
No.
To the people in the chat, do you have a job? Do you have job? As they say, I am job. Yes, you understand? Same thing applies to me. I live under the exact same system that you guys do, and I'm not able to go to a job that is free, that's without pay, other than the volunteer stuff I do. But that's not a job. That doesn't it doesn't pay the bills. So if you guys want to fan fund it, you can. If you don't have to. Either way, regardless of fan funding this or not, we have our lovely guest today, and 2 points of clarity that seem to be remiss on people that watch YouTube. They just assume that Alyssa is my wife. Alyssa is not my wife. Alyssa is my homie, our fish friend, and an expert in breeding fish, certain types of fish, aquarium care, and all of that stuff. And that's why she's on the show. My wife's upstairs doing something right now. I don't know what she's doing. Work. I think she's working. And another point to bring up is that Alyssa is not related to Bentley. Bentley's her last name, not her that's her last name, right?
Yeah.
So welcome to the show, our friend Alyssa Bentley. What's up, dude? What are you doing?
I am sitting here in the early morning.
Wondering what's going on?
Yeah, kind of.
The early morning. It's all 10 a.m. Like, it's early morning. Yeah. Is it early?
This is when I usually start doing dishes and getting the day sorted out, making sure that everything is,
Hunky-dory?
yeah, like make tea and that kind of stuff.
Right.
Bring it upstairs. Make sure that Justin's settled in his office. That's what
Yeah.
I do. It's the best of, I guess, being a housewife now.
Right.
It's weird.
Getting the house settled, doing housewife stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yelling at the cat.
Yelling at the cat, getting things sorted.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Bentley's in the chat.
Yeah.
So, what's up, Bentley Pascal? Well, I always say your name wrong. It's fun.
Yeah.
It says there are things other than work.
Sometimes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. There are definitely things other than work. If you guys are familiar with the YouTube channel, Some More News, they did an episode this week.
Oh, yeah.
That just so deeply parallels a video that I'm currently working on that I feel like I got to go back to the drawing board now because it was so parallel to what I was working on already to try and explain to people some of the evolution of man, basically, and our relationship with work and the idea of work, and especially the American culture around it. So I don't know if I'm going to be releasing that video ever soon, because I'm like, oh my god, it is way too close to what I was working on, I feel. Or I can just make some sweeping changes, right? Which I probably will do.
Also, not to give anything away for the other video, Some More News' video, but I found myself really hating the girl character during that whole thing. I was like,
Well, that's the joke. They're playing
I know.
Yeah.
I'm like, you are doing too good of a job.
Right. It's funny because it's like he's not actually angry newsman. It's like this is the character that he plays. Yeah, which is funny. Especially if you listen to their podcast, you realize like, oh wait a minute, Cody's actually just kind of a really quiet, kind of reserved, friendly guy. And you realize like, oh yeah, he is acting. Yes, that's the thing about the acting, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So
it's an actor.
Thespian. Which, but they did a great job, sort of giving their take on work and sort of where we are at this point. And because a bit of disclosure, I was one of the people that was interviewed by the government.
Oh yeah.
I was one of the people that was interviewed by the government in regards to wellness and care and like healthcare access and all that kind of stuff. I'm one of many that they interview or whatever, right? But it's the first time I've ever been interviewed by the government as to like how things are going or whatever. And so I feel like my answers might end up not specifically, but I'll be in the pool of answers. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Which I find to be like kind of interesting. And it was very recent. It was very recent that was ongoing, or that I did that, and it really kind of played into the. It really kind of played into my reaction to that video, and like part of what they were talking about, and the reality that they're sort of trying to figure out. They're trying to figure out the human like interaction with like the higher rates of depression, the overall unhappiness, like blah blah blah, that's been ongoing here for a little while, you know, like, and when I say a little while, I mean like last 40 years or whatever. And one of the interesting things is that it turns out that like humans, so if you look into it, I guess would be the easiest way to put it, is that like humans aren't designed for this idea that you just work all of the time, that you're just constantly in this state of toil, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's not normal, historically speaking. Like,
Right.
To the point where it was like people used to work maybe 20 hours a week, right? And they go like, well, yeah, but what about harvesting the farm? And like, but there's a good 6 months out of the year where the farm's not doing anything, right? It's like everything's just chilling, and so you're
Right.
just
Like,
chilling also.
You feed the cows or whatever.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, that takes 5 minutes. you know what I mean? It's
Right.
like, oh, you go put out some hay, and otherwise the cows feed themselves because they're
Yeah. You're not going out there and shoving hay and then making them chew.
Yeah. Well, it's like feeding my fish tanks, right?
Yeah.
Like, would you consider that to be like this overwhelming amount of work?
Probably not.
Like, no, not really. I mean, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. I mean, if it takes me a half an hour, it's literally 20 minutes of it is me like, ooh, what's going on in here? Ooh.
Right.
Are you breeding? What are you doing? You know.
Right. That's 98% of me down there.
Right.
In my
that-
fish room.
Is that shrimp buried? Oh, she's going to have babies.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, why are you guys in
Yeah.
caves? Are you guys breeding again? Again?
But it was weird because the thing that they paralleled was, so for a long time, scientific studies have sort of around linguistics of trying to figure out like how did language come to be, and it turns out that like it's one of the reasons that language was invented was humans weren't toiling constantly. They just weren't. And it gave them a lot of time to like invent language, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's how that came to be. Like if you're super busy all the time, you don't have time to be like just chilling with some people and being like, what do we call this? You know, like because you can't say what do we call this? You don't have that hasn't been invented yet, right?
Boredom is the necessity of invention.
Boredom is the necessity.
No, boredom is the thing that causes people to invent things.
Boredom?
Yeah.
I don't think that's the. I don't
Because
think
you
that's
have
the saying
time.
you're looking for.
I know it. No. There's
Necessity is the mother of invention.
right, but you need to be bored enough to have the time. Being bored gives you the time in order to do that kind of thing.
Well, I don't know if it's like being bored. It's like having access to time.
Right.
Right. Having the availability of time allows you access to invent something. I think that's probably, is that an easier way to put it?
Yeah, probably.
Right.
Sorry, I haven't had any sort of anything to eat or anything today.
Nothing to eat yet?
It's so early.
It's 10:30. Which is fine. I'm not getting on you. So here's the deal. Like, so the old saying is necessity is the mother of invention, right?
Right.
And so there was a point in time when people found it necessary to communicate with each other in a more effective way, right? Because you're trying to convey your thoughts to other people who are not inside your brain,
Right.
right? And like, if you didn't have the time to be like, well, I gotta explain empathy without that word even existing or any of these words existing, like, how are we gonna get there? It's gonna take an extraordinarily long amount of time, right? And if you didn't have access to that time, you wouldn't have time to even interact with it at all, right? So I think that's the overlying point of what they're trying to convey there, is that working 40 hours a week plus 5 hours a day of driving around, doing meals, doing all this stuff, and that's the end of the day. Like, this isn't normal for humans. Like, we're not designed. Well, we're not designed. We're not designed at all. We haven't evolved to handle this level of interaction with labor, right? And laboring to do things.
And the constant stress that comes with it.
Right. It's very weird. And like, the reason I bring that up is because the title of the title of the show here today is "Am I Finally Moving?" And so far, we got to have about 10 hours of being excited, and then that just got demolished by the overlying possible screw up that we could be dealing with here. So, as you guys know, the housing market is absurd. I've mentioned it on the show a bunch of times. We've tried to buy a house. You know, we tried to. So let's explain, like, this week, because you guys probably don't know about this week at all, because I haven't communicated with the internet. On Monday, we put in an offer on a house with a 10% escalation clause just written into the contract right out the gate. The listing agent, the guy who's the representative of the seller, said, well, it looks like we're going to have like 4 offers, right? So take that information with it as you will, whatever you got to do.
Right.
So we're like, okay, you know, and every time we've put in an offer has been like, whatever little incentive can be put into that contract, we're basically figuring out how to incentivize somebody to pick us, you know, sending cover letters, waiving financing, waiving inspections, doing this, doing that, earnest money, like, just all this crazy stuff. And it's like, every time we've just been like, well, yeah, you didn't get it. Like, okay, moving on. Go look at another thing. And it's been pretty crazy. It's been months of this now. And on Monday, the listing agent thought there was going to be like 4, maybe 5 offers. He had 9. So he had 9 offers that he took up to the guy who was selling the house. And it went 26% over list. And this is an over $600,000 house.
Jesus.
At the list price.
Yep.
Right? Mm-hmm. Which is a lot of money. It's a serious lot of money. And so on Tuesday, we had another house. So we had these 2 houses that had 2 different review dates, Monday and Tuesday. Now, the second house, we basically like copy and pasted our offer, reviewed some stuff, put it in. You know, we had a basic escalation that we were not willing to go over. So we actually won the bid on this house. So we supposedly have a new house. We're getting under contract. And we're very excited about that. And then we talked to our finance guy, and he's like, okay, then we need the contract for your other house, this house that we're in right now.
Mm-hmm.
And we're like, wait a minute, we already have a contract with the company. He's like, no, you need to be under contract to get out of that house. And we're like, what? Yeah. So in order for our financing to not fall through, I basically need to move everything out of here this weekend.
Yeah.
So I got to move my fish room. I got to tear down the studio down here. Obviously, I'm going to leave my computer and the broadcasting stuff and whatever. So we'll figure out doing live streams and stuff in the meantime. But I got to clean everything out of down here. There's a lot of computer parts and stupid things sitting around that can go into boxes and get out of here. But they need the garage cleared out also.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I'll just put everything in the garage. No, they need that cleared out also so that people can tour the property, right? And I'm just like, how? I don't even know where I'm going to put this stuff. So we're basically going to get some storage tomorrow and just start putting stuff in there, I guess, and we'll see what happens, you know. But it's just literally like we had like 10 hours of like, oh yeah, we got a place right on. Okay, what do we got to do? Okay, we got to do this. We got to do that. Like the shop there on the property that we bought has a leak in the roof. So I'm like, oh, I got to call the roofer. I'm gonna get him out there, which I can't have him out there until it's until we're closed.
Right. I can't just
order work on somebody else's house. I mean, I can, but it's not a great idea in case something happens and then I've paid to fix somebody's roof.
Right.
Wesley said, why do you need to clear out the house in order for people to tour? Because I need this house to be under contract for my financing. I hope I explained that before. Vicky and I's financing requires this house to be under contract, which we were under contract with a company,
right.
But we need to be under contract with an individual.
Right. Somebody needs
to
be
So the company that we are on,
it.
So the company is going to bring people here to get this house under contract. We don't have that contract yet. And for our financing to work, we need that contract to submit to the bank to clear our financing. Or just somebody give us like $500,000 or something and be like, well, here's collateral. Like, go away, you know?
Right. Northwest Aqua Hobby says, wow, it's a lot to move in a
So,
day or two.
Needless to say, if there's any millionaires or billionaires, Bezos, where the hell is Bezos? God damn it, Bezos, where are you? Where are you, bees? I'll shave your head for you.
Yeah.
I just need $1 million real quick. Just hook it up, bud. Just hook it up, bees. Where you at? Freaking Bezos. Friggin' Bezos. Friggin' Bezos.
Yeah, right?
The bees. O's. Jeff Bezos. We need $1 million. Let's go.
I feel like that should be a song.
It is.
Bezos.
Bo Burnham. I would play it right now, but I get copyright strikes anytime I
I'll
play
look
music.
it up later. It's all good.
It's like my channel's been around long enough that they know.
Yeah.
They know. They're like, oh.
People are just like,
Yeah.
no. You played 2 seconds of that song. No.
Right. Yeah. So it's a little bit weird. Highly stressful last 12 hours or something. It's just like 16 hours or whatever the hell it is. But you know, we'll figure it out. It's just like it's just Murphy's Law, you know. It's just like whatever will go wrong or can go wrong will go wrong, and just trying to deal with it. So got a ton of stuff to move and a ton of things to do. You know. Northwest Aqua Hobby says, couldn't you leave a lot of the big furniture as staging? Yes, I can leave a lot of the big furniture as staging. That's going to be fine. But like you can see behind Alyssa, like there's a ton of clutter. So I need to get all of this stuff moved. I also need to get the fish room moved because our representative from the company who's going to be handling our house here was like, this place is going to be known as the fish tank house. Right.
Right.
And so they don't want
people are going to think
they don't want to try to move this house with it under the impression that it's the fish tank house, right? You know, it will really narrow the scope of people that are like, oh yeah, that's totally normal, right? So, you know, I'm going to take the advice of the people that that are supplying like the expert advice. Like this is what we recommend needs to be done.
Right.
In order,
you need to get your personality out of the house.
Right.
Because nobody wants to move into somebody else's personality.
Right. So it's an issue, but it kind of is what it is. And you know, there's nothing I could do to like fight against it. It's just like I'm gonna do the best I can to make it work. Darko says, yeah, that's reasonable. Yeah, I mean the thing is like everything is so expensive right now. That like you just want to do the best you can to be on the right foot forward, you know, kind of situation. So, yeah.
Yep.
Seems like I have to reinstall updates for YouTube to be able to post every time, like into chat or something. Wonder what's going on with Steve. He's saying there's something wrong. He has to like redo YouTube. I personally haven't had that problem. Although I have a YouTube Premium or YouTube Red or whatever they're calling it now. I'm sure it's YouTube Meta or something. I don't know.
I haven't had that problem either, but I don't know. I'm on iPhone, so I'm one of the 1 billion.
Right. What? 1 billion. Yes. Oh, that's right. Hey, you 1 billion people. There's 1 billion of you that are on iPhone. So if you're on iPhone, become a YouTube member today. It's very important. You should do it, and it'll make you feel strong and powerful. Joel G says, as a man with 22 fish tanks, I just cannot comprehend this perspective. You know, it's understandable. Like, I get that everyone that thinks that the behavior that they do is normal, right?
Oh. It's
just, like, inherent that you go, like, this is the thing I like, so this is normal, right? You know, and it's like Frisbee golf. Like, what? This is not normal. It's not normal to be obsessed with Frisbee golf.
Brown hair? What? Brown? That's not normal. Only blonde is normal.
Brown is normal. Yeah. I hate to break the news to you. I know. Dark hair rules the world.
Most people, dark hair.
Most people.
Mm-hmm. In the world.
It's super easy to calculate that because you just go like India and China.
Yep.
And you're like,
right.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, all right.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
There's half. Yeah. Yeah. It's like
yes.
there's half of the peeps, right?
Right. For sure. Yeah. Hey,
so
Corey's
if you're
here.
in China with brown hair, become a YouTube member today. You got this. You know how it goes. Metalfish says, my house was full of the old owner's stuff. When I made an offer as a part of the contract, I had to give them a month to get it cleared out. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, you know, my thing is that, like, I would just say owner occupied, and then like, people could come in and get an idea of what's going on and if they're interested. But, you know, like I said, I'm just going to take the advice of the experts to, you know, like, just follow their lead and go like, all right,
stressful.
We need to get this under contract in a very short period of time. That's the issue. Like if we had months, like we assumed we had the 2-month period, basically like 60 days to go. Okay, we'll get under contract with this house. We'll get things set up. We'll get things finalized. And now it's turned into a bum rush. Got to freak out. Got to, you know, which is ridiculous. So,
right.
It's just, You know, I don't know how many times we went round and round with the financing to make sure that, like, we just need to be under contract with a company. Yes. Okay, so we sent in the contract from the company that we're under contract here on our end, and then as soon as we close, it's like, okay, send over the agreement. You know, like, oh wait, we don't have that yet. And they're like, what? I'm like, what do you mean what? Like, this is, we talked about this like 100 times, I swear. You know, I don't know. So it's just, you know, it is what it is.
Right. Oh.
Uh-oh, Bentley's got to go off to purgatory meeting purgatory.
Right. Good luck, Bentley.
Well, I guess it's better than meeting limbo, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because at least you're not like stuck in the
gray abyss forever.
Yeah, in the abyss. Not knowing where you're going. Are you going up or are you going down?
Yeah.
I feel like if you're going to purgatory, at least you know where you stand, right? You're like, I'm in it. I'm in the bad place.
I think it depends on.
I'd rather have an answer than no answer.
Yeah,
you know?
that's probably true.
You know what I mean? Like, I feel like limbo would be the ultimate hell. The ultimate purgatory of just like, yeah, well, this is it. You don't know where you're going.
Uh-huh.
Forever.
Yeah.
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 Which is why I'd be sinning, bro.
Then you just know.
I'll be eating meat on Friday.
Yep.
I'll be mixing and matching wool with cotton. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes. Yes.
I'll be eating hooved animals.
With cheese?
I'll put it this way. I'd be eating my way through sin. You know what I mean? Because I'm eating a cow, so the Hindus are mad.
Mm-hmm.
You'd be eating a pig, so everybody mad.
Yep.
I'd be eating on Friday, so all those other people are mad.
And if you have a cheeseburger, that also gets them mad.
Cheeseburger. Nobody likes that either. Dairy
Right.
and meat.
Yep.
Right? Oh. You can't mix your milk plate and your meat, right?
Correct.
Yeah, can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
But I want the cheese. I like it. I love cheese.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I could give up meat. Well, I've done it. I mean, it's not a big deal. I was vegan for like 5 years. You can do it. I can do it. If I could do it, you could do it. Regardless of that, I would say I could give up meat, but I wouldn't be able to give up cheese. You know what I mean? Because whenever I get a hankering for like steak or something, I could just have a grilled cheese sandwich or something.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be fine.
You're not like, oh man, I really want some, what is it? That nutritional yeast.
Right. Nutritional yeast. Hey, there's this rolling thing up here. Does anybody notice that? I got a scrolling banner up there to get a moist tattoo.
Oh yeah.
We got to get to 500 paid members, and I'll get a moist tattoo.
Yep.
In remembrance of this moist sticker. It won't be on my face, though. I'll tell you that. Oh, man, I lost my moist sticker. It fell on the ground. It's garbage now. It's on the ground. Oh, my God. Can I get it from my chair? I got it. My moist sticker.
Oh, that's
this
great.
moist sticker's been through a lot.
Isn't Corey about to go to Minnesota?
The what?
Corey's about to go to Minnesota. Hey, man, just like
I don't
wave to the whole state because that's where all of my family lives. Like all of them. Like 150 people. You know, when you're flying over, you're banking over, and you just kind of see like dots of lakes everywhere. Right. Just kind of wave a little. You're like, Alyssa's family's here.
Oh, the co-op's here says, I've sold a house with fish tanks in it. Everyone had problems with it, afraid it's going to hurt their kids, uses too much power, etc. The new owners intend to rip out the pond and fill it in. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, it's such a niche market that you're gonna get a lot of people in a tizzy. You know, I don't know if there's a better way to put it, but people say, "Oh my God, what?" And it's easy to like, I can represent that very easily from the peer-to-peer interactions that I have. When people are like, "Oh, are you still doing that like aquarium thing? Are you still doing that like aquarium thing?" And you know, and like when I talk to the average person and I go like, I've made like 1,000 hours of content about aquariums, right? Like, what are you talking about? Just, you know what I mean? Like, and it would be somebody like I've been friends with for 25 years or something, and they're like, "Are you still doing that like thing with the fish tank thing or whatever?" And you're like, I don't understand what? You know what I mean?
I do know what
It's
you
like
mean.
if somebody was in a band and I was just like, "Do you do that thing where you like make sound or something? Like what? What is that? Why do you do that? Why do you make those noises?" I don't. There's times when it's quiet and like, then you make it not quiet. What is that? You know?
What I usually get is, oh, that's right. You know something about fish. And I'll be like, yeah, okay. And they'll say, well, I was wondering if you could help me pick out some kind of easy fish for my house or whatever. We're just going to do like a 10-gallon tank. And I'll be like, all right. And then I'll ask like some questions. What do they want to do? And then I'll give them some advice. And then they'll be like, oh my gosh. All right, cool. Yeah, we got endlers. And I'll be like, cool. Did you get males and female endlers? And they'll be like, yeah. And I'm like, you're going to get a lot of babies. They'll be like, oh, that'll be fun. I'm like, yep. And then later, 3 months later,
Right.
they'll be like, I have so many freaking babies in here. What do you do? And I'm like, all right. You can see if the local shop wants them back.
Right. Yeah. Steve Bearteach brings up a point. Says L.R. Brett sold his house fully loaded with tanks. So L.R. Brett sold his house to a fan, somebody who's admittedly
a super fan
of L.R. Brett's, who is going to start a YouTube channel based off the purchase of that house. I watched that short video with him and the guy. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to start a YouTube channel. And you're like, okay. Yeah, I'm going to take on this house full of 300 tanks. Okay. Yeah, Lucas is going to pump me up and promote me or something or whatever. Which, I don't know what kind of contract they signed. But there's just so many issues there. I don't even know. You know, I don't want to cast this like. I don't want to cast like this is a bad idea. But it's a bad idea. Like it's just a bad idea all around. Realistically, the housing market right now is hyper competitive. I can't imagine a world where you just avoid doing the work of taking your business out of a house like that. To just decrease the value of the sale, realistically. Like, I don't know. It just, the whole situation seems really weird. It seems really weird. Like, there's some strange parasocial dynamic there.
Yeah. It's supposed to
and
come
I
with
feel
like
I feel
1 year of direct coaching or something.
Yeah. So one of the weird things is like take the fish out of the equation here. Take the fish fam, the whatever y'all are, whatever y'all want to call yourselves, whatever it is. I don't know. Take that out of the equation and go, somebody bought Jake Paul's house, right? And Jake Paul left holes in the walls. The plumbing is broken. The house is a disaster. It's completely disgusting. But somebody bought the house from Jake Paul just because that was Jake Paul's house.
Right.
Right? And you would go like, that's crazy. Or, oh, somebody bought a house from Steve-O, right? And like, the house is all messed up. It's nothing that you really want, but Steve-O's going to be your friend for a year. Right?
Yep.
Like, it's weird. That's a very weird dynamic.
It seems weird until you think of it like somebody bought that $500,000 football.
Right. Somebody bought Tom Brady's final $500,000 touchdown touchdown
final
ball, and then he came out of retirement, right?
like immediately.
Like, it's very weird. Kudos to the people that are making those choices, I guess. But it's very weird. That is very, very weird, as far as I'm concerned. And I'm sure people are going to get mad and be like, ah, for whatever reason, because people will just get mad. But it seems like an extraordinarily bad idea to me. I don't know. The whole situation just seems bad.
People like getting mad.
You know.
Some people actually do like getting mad.
A lot of people do like getting mad. Is they're taking out their frustration on their general day-to-day like dissatisfaction with life, and they're doing it on where they think it's untangible, right? Like they think like, oh, I'm just going to yell and scream and do all this crazy stuff on the internet because it's like it's not a
it's a different kind of being an adrenaline junkie.
Right. Yeah, pretty much. Rock Hard Tank says, I would do it if it was a great deal and my real house was next door. My YouTube channel would only show videos of everything I changed. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, I'm sure that the guy who bought the house is sort of like under the assumption and illusion that like he's going to be able to just pick it up. He's just going to go with it. He's just going to do YouTube and he's just going to be successful. And that might be the case.
Could be.
Could be. I'm not saying it's not out of the realm of possibility. I've never heard of the guy before. I've never seen the guy make content before. I've never seen the guy take care of fish tanks before. I don't even know who the guy is. They said he was some engineer or whatever, which might be just a guy with too much money making a weird decision. I don't know. But
I don't know. The things that would give me pause for that, like, okay, let's just pretend that I've got tons of money to just spend on something like this, right? Are these tanks labeled with what's in the tank? That would be very important to me.
Right.
And then, like, how are they maintained? And, you know, and I know it comes with all the coaching from LRB, but like, how much work does this guy put in every day in order to keep his fish room healthy?
Right. From my understanding, it's Lucas and an employee or two and a volunteer and his wife, right? Or something like that.
Something like that.
And like people have quit working for him because of the apparent dysfunction, right?
I don't know about that.
Oh, yeah.
I have no idea.
Right.
Metalfish says, what are you planning to do for your livestock and plants when you get a storage unit? Joel?
It's LR Brett's. Nothing will be labeled. Yeah. I mean that's probably true. Metalfish says, "What are you gonna do with my livestock and my plants when you get a storage unit?" So I need to get all the tanks and everything into storage. That's like number one, which means I need to get tanks drained. I need to get sumps drained. I need to take plumbing out, all that kind of stuff. Start to box things up and get them put into storage. Like I gotta, something I hadn't really considered was I gotta take all my lights, all my aquarium lights, and like box them all up and label them so I know which ones they are. Because like each light has a control in the app, right? And I'd like to know which one it is when I'm setting them back up,
right?
Without having to like fumble around and plug one in and see if it gets identified or not.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of labeling I got to do. I got to take everything down. I got to put it all into boxes, and then I got to put it all into storage. As far as the livestock goes, I am going to have to lean on some friends. I think Alyssa can watch some of my stuff if I strong arm her into watching some of my stuff. I'm like, hey, watch my stuff, or we fight. Or something.
I mean, I've got that whole section of the basement that has no fish in it because it's gonna be the fish room, but I mean, it's not going to get work done until after you've moved anyways, I assume. So,
It's gonna get worked on.
yeah, but,
Yeah.
you know, because you're going to be in the middle of a big move. So we're not going to be in that area. So if we need to set up a tank in that spot,
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I'm just waiting for more words.
Temporarily.
Right. Yeah.
Then you can just go right in there.
Yeah.
Should be fine.
Yeah, we'll get it figured out.
Yeah,
Somebody was asking earlier.
We'll sort it.
Someone was asking earlier if I could put stuff in Corey's fish room. Like, I think he threw out the offer, and I might take him up on that in regards. But right now, I have guppies, I have bristlenose plecos, I got my puffer, lots of shrimp, and whatnot. Like, so I don't have like a bunch of crazy stuff that's hard to take care of. Other than Puffy's kind of a pain. But yeah, so it should be a relatively simple kind of thing. Like, I have a big frag tank that's empty right now. That's like a 48 by whatever.
48 by 24 by 10?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I was thinking like, oh, I could probably put a lot of plants into that, because it's a big square area.
Yeah.
So I think I could save a lot of my rare plants and just put them in kind of like a holding tank for a little while or something. Or I don't know. We're going to figure something out.
Yeah. Figure it out.
Because I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down all the tanks except for one of them, the 150, and then just leave the 150 set up and just be like, look, this is the best I can do right now. I think that's what's going to happen. Because I could just put all the shrimp in there, everybody in there for the next couple weeks while I sort of sort everything out and get everything like ready to go. Because next weekend I'm supposed to be working on Alyssa's house, so I'm trying to organize that and get everything get everything kind of like sorted for that. But like next weekend I'm gonna be doing that, plus I'm working on the aquarium co-op expansion, so there's just like a lot going on, and there's a lot of things to do. Just train your livestock to breathe air or find their off button and pack them until set everything up again. That's true.
I mean, fish aren't real. They're just robots, so.
That's true. They're not robots. They're just robots, right?
Yeah.
They're not real.
It's fine.
So we'll figure it out. It's going to be a big pain. I mean, honestly, it's if you talked to me yesterday, I would have just probably like been swearing a lot. Like it's kind of the point where, like when you stub your toe and you drop a loud F-bomb.
Yeah. But
yesterday was just like, I'm just going to be real quiet now because I am like so mad. Like I just don't even, it was kind of one of those things. But it sort of is what it is, and I'm just going to have to work through it as best I can. Have tomorrow and the next day. There's a bunch of stuff on the house here I got to fix before we move. Somebody broke the stairs the other day. We had a friend visit from out of town and
broke her stairs.
I don't know if it's a combination of bad luck, good luck, timing, whatever. But those stairs have been fine for 100 years, and then that person jumped on them and broke it.
Jumped on them?
Yeah. So, yeah.
They weren't like 3 years old?
No, it's very weird. But just random stuff like that, just being a big pain.
Huh. Great.
What's that?
Breaking stairs.
Oh, it's up at the top upstairs.
Yeah.
Right after we put in the carpet. Yeah. It's like, okay, now I have to tear out the carpet. Cool. Yeah, it's cool. That's real cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, cool. Let me rebuild the landing at the top of the stairs because somebody
broke it.
Yeah.
Right. Aubrey,
cool.
Just cover everything with dust cloths so it looks like nondescript cubic furniture. You know how often Because when I was renting, I wanted to do that.
I'm just like, that's fine.
Yeah, it'll be fine. I just, it's just where I put my tarp. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. It'll be fine.
Yeah, but then I never did, and never got in trouble or nothing, so.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
There was a house that I rented long time ago, and we had a Halloween party. We had 6 bands play in our living room.
Nice.
With like a full-size PA and everything. Yeah. And it was a pretty wild Halloween party. We got in trouble with the police couple times. 'Cause, they came and broke it up, and then
They were like, hey,
yeah,
your neighbors called us.
and then they had to come back later. Yeah.
Your neighbors called us
Your
again.
neighbors called us again. We're arresting somebody. Yeah. But somebody had put a big giant hole in the wall in the drywall, like a human-sized hole.
Oh, dear.
And the landlord came by like a few months later to do an inspection or something, to walk through in the house. And we actually just put up tapestries over that wall, like a big giant rug tapestry. Just hung it up.
Uh-huh.
Like, yeah, we're good. We're good here, bro. Everything's fine. Totally normal.
Do you know what's funny is I had been doing the rug on the wall thing,
Mm-hmm.
not to cover anything, but just because I liked the way that it looked.
Right. Did they look behind it?
No,
Back here.
nobody looked behind it.
What are you criminals hiding?
And now I'm like, oh man, there's like more than one reason to do that kind of thing.
Right.
But I had been doing in the last place, it was because it was like the television system with the speakers and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then the couch was, and then behind the couch we had the rug, and then on the other side of that wall was the other neighbors, and those people had like a baby, and I was like, well, let's just put a little sound dampening just in case, just to be kind.
To be kind.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yep.
Joel G says you should live stream while people check your house out, and you can interview them about their need for a house live. Oh, just like interview people that are coming to look at a house and ask them about like why they need a house.
Right. Why do you need a house?
Why do you need a house? What's the deal here, bro?
Why don't you just sleep on the ground outside?
Yeah.
What's wrong with you?
Sleep outside, dude.
Are you bougie?
Bougie. What are you, some kind of? Yeah. I'm not gonna finish that sentence.
No.
Yeah. I don't know why I would live stream that. That seems weird.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty obvious why people need a house.
Yeah. Because it's, they're tired of living in an apartment.
Right. Just cover everything in dust cloth so it looks like nondescript cubic furniture.
Yeah.
I wish that the regular world worked like Minecraft. I could just put some blocks in front of it.
Yeah.
Don't worry about this.
Yeah.
Some
This is actually, if you use your imagination, this is cabinets.
My mom keeps calling.
Oh.
I don't know. She doesn't watch my YouTube channel.
Is she somebody that you can text back and be like, I'll call you back?
She's the kind of person that would be asking about that aquarium thing, that fish tank thing. Are you still doing that fish tank thing? You still doing that? Are you doing that thing? Yeah, I don't know, Mom. You still doing that weird hospital thing? What's that hospital thing? What is that? What's that hospital thing? What are you doing over there? You just hanging out at a hospital or what? What's the deal? It would be funny.
Used to be, if I ever went back to my old hometown, and people that I used to know back in school, like grade school, would see me and be like, hey, Alyssa. And I'd be like, hey, I want to say Jason. And they're like, no, it's Jacob. Oh, sorry. Wow. And they'd be like, do you still do art? And I'd be like, and in my head, I'd be thinking like, yeah, me and Art, we've been going for a long time.
Yep, still doing that.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird.
That's all people knew me about.
Right. Do you still do that art thing?
Yep.
Do you have any clarity from your statement? Let's see. What was it? What else were we going to talk about? So the big move is coming up. I know that you were asking.
Should your mom get banned? Good Lord.
I know you were asking about like what size of the fish room is compared to yours. We were supposed to like
have
compare
a
fish room size.
fish room measuring contest.
Are you completing zip ties over there?
Shit.
Are you swearing on my YouTube channel, you swearer? We're going to get demonetized. Oh, God. We didn't even get any super chats today. I'm just kidding. You can say shit. It's fine.
I did it. I ruined a zip tie.
Zip tie down. That's 8 cents, Chief. Well, I don't even know how much zip ties cost anymore. They've probably gone way up since the pandemic. Those are antique.
Ooh.
Those are specific. Okay, what is the deal with my mom? What is going on?
Hopefully she's okay.
Hold on, I'm having to text my mom back because she's guilt tripping me.
Uh-oh. Why do you never answer when I call?
I'm gonna put a smiley face on here.
Okay.
Smiley face. The heart face. Hearts with the smiley. Is that good?
Yes.
There we go. Sorry. My mom is like, oh my God, why aren't you answering your phone? What's going on? And it's just like, hey, I'm on the internet right now. What are you doing? Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna yell at her. It's just no. I was just like, we're live right now, so let me call you back after the show. Still love you, Mom.
I myself I wasn't gonna do this
because I did the thing where it said like, I'm busy right now. I'll call you back after the automated text reply. Like that's why I'm not answering my phone.
Yeah.
I'm currently busy at the moment, you know, which is like works for normal people, but not moms. Moms are like, oh my God, how are you too busy for the mom? What's your?
It's Friday.
You know,
Friday is your non-busy day.
They'll be like, I squeezed you out of my vagina. I've never heard my mom ever say that, but you know what I mean, right? Like I gave birth to you.
Yeah, I've never heard my moms give that.
I gave you food.
No.
Gave you house.
No.
Shelter.
No. She did do those things. She just never tried to do that particular guilt trip.
I don't know. You probably answer your phone when she calls.
If my mom actually calls.
Well, there you go. Now here's a clear distinction here.
Yeah.
Now we've sussed out the difference.
Right.
My mom actually calls.
Right. My mom knows by now that the best way to communicate with me is to just text.
Right.
And she just does that. Now that she has access to a full QWERTY keyboard, she can do that.
Well, she's got the QWERTY.
Yeah, on her
There's
phone.
some kind of like slide out.
Well, because remember back when you had to
phone.
do like 1111 and then 222 whatever. That didn't work for my mother, and it would sometimes autocorrect the words wrong, and then she would get embarrassed about the words, and then she would be upset, and so she would not text. But now she's got access to the iPhone. She can do
texting.
correct punctuation and everything.
Oh God, the Nano Aquarium guy came through on your zip ties.
Oh, thanks, man.
With a $2 super chat for the zip tie fund.
Thank
you.
It's paid for, man.
Here's the reality. I actually wasn't that worried about zip ties. I have an extensive zip tie collection. I don't know if you guys know this about me, but I'm a bit of a collector.
My zip ties are much smaller than this at home.
I think I got a bundle of small ones around here.
Yeah, I got little tiny black ones. They're like this big.
I've got I've got 6-foot ones
Nice.
for 6-foot zip tying.
Wow.
Because you got to zip tie up a tree.
Yeah.
Because you don't want
Or-
that tree to get away. You know what I'm saying?
Big, huge bundles of sticks.
HVAC.
Or
Like big
or
vent
HVAC.
pipes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so my mom just texts. In fact, what we usually do is we've got the sisters and mom group text.
Right.
So, and that just goes all day long. So I just have that on Do Not Disturb, and I check in every once in a while because it goes all day long.
Yeah.
Yeah, Joel G, seriously, autocorrect trauma. She tried it like one time and
Right.
it
Got
got
autocorrect.
autocorrected to something weird that didn't make any sense. And we kind of said, and she was like, no. Mm-mm.
That's it. Game over.
Mm-mm.
Can't
Nope.
let the robots win.
Nope.
You can't let Skynet win. I think
Right.
that's the moral of the story.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Well, we verified that the super chat button works today, so that's good. We got that going for us. Yeah, but as far as like the measuring contest goes for the fish room thing, I don't know. I'm gonna have to throw a measuring tape down on your basement and then versus.
You mean like my whole basement?
Your whole basement's gonna turn into a fish room. I think the reality.
But that's
You
not.
told me you wanted to take the stairs out so you'd have more space.
I want to take the stairs out because the stairs suck.
They do. They do suck.
They're
I agree.
they're not
Plus, you could actually
graded
have
for human
a
use.
pantry.
Yes,
like
and
you're
I want a
supposed to.
pantry for freak's sakes.
Pantry.
I want a pantry.
A pantry.
I want
Nice accent, bro.
Thank you.
God. What are you from?
Minnesota.
Georgia.
No.
Pantry. Maine. Are you
Minnesota.
from Maine? I don't know what. I say pantry also. Pantry. Right? Pan. People always complain about like Americans sounding super nasally or whatever. Pantry. I think that's maybe where it would come in.
Ah.
I don't know, but the Brits are calling the trunk of their car a boot, so I don't even know what those idiots are talking about. What are they talking about?
I don't know.
It's a boot. Like, do you know what a boot is? It goes on your foot. It doesn't go on your car.
Right.
That's a trunk.
But you know what a trunk is? It goes on the front of an elephant.
It does go on the front of an elephant. But it's also a trunk where you put stuff in,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Like a trunk?
Like a traveling trunk.
Like a traveling trunk.
Yeah. Like
That's
you put
attached
on
to
a
your-
steamer ship.
It's attached to your car, right?
Yeah, exactly.
We get the logic, right?
It makes sense.
No, let's call it a boot. Why?
Because you put stuff in a boot.
What are you talking about? A
Like your
boot?
Foot?
Like Canadians saying about? A boot? What's it a boot? You mean what's at the back of the car? Trunk? What's at a trunk?
Right. I don't know.
Do you know? I don't know.
I don't know.
How would anybody know?
I assume they know.
I don't know what's happening right now. I think I had an aneurysm.
A little bit.
A brain aneurysm.
We just had a collective aneurysm. Alienating the world.
It's a boot. No, it's not. Well, what do you put on your foot then? What do Brit bongers call boots?
Galoshes?
What do you call them? Rubber boots. Bill, boot, car, pocket money, check. Wait, what? What do Brits call? The usage of the word trunk comes from it being the word for a large traveling chest, as such trunks were often attached to the back of a vehicle before the development of the integrated storage compartments in the 1930s.
Right.
While the usage of the word boot comes from the word for a built-in compartment on a horse. What? Continue. Where's the rest? I want the more part. Okay, hold on. See if we can't get the whole thing. The storage space came from the term as the boot locker, which soon became the boot.
Wellies. That's the word.
Wellies?
That's
Wellies? What is this? What are
That's their like rain boots.
wellies? What are these? Rain boots. That's a rubber boot.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we would call a rubber boot because it's a rubber boot. It's a boot made out of rubber. Or you could refer to them as a
rain boot.
farm. We call them farm boots.
Or muck boots.
Yeah. Well, because the muck refers to the poop at the farm.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you don't want those getting into your shoes.
Yeah. Muck just sounds so close to the F-bomb.
Yeah.
That we call them farm boots.
Okay.
See that?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. See the parallel there?
Yeah.
Instead of calling them fuck boots, you call them farm boots. So it still
Because
has
the
an
first
F.
one is a different kind of boot.
It's a different kind of boot. Those are some weird boots, bro.
Yeah.
What kind of boots are those? Like stiletto boots, maybe?
They're much nicer looking.
Are they? Weird. All right. All right.
Yep.
I got to admit, I'm intrigued by whatever it is that you're talking about. I don't even know how to explain it. You got to look it up and send me a link or something.
I'll do it later.
Okay. So it looks like Wellies so Welly is a company, right? Am I correct?
Probably. Kind of like Kleenex.
Like Kleenex or Q-tips, right?
Yeah.
Like a Q-tip is a cotton swab on a stick, whatever that's called. There's a name for it.
Cotton swab.
Cotton swab?
Mm-hmm. As opposed to a cotton ball.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, gotcha.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Why do Brits call boots wellies? Wellington rain boots. Yep, it's the brand. It's just the brand name. So you're literally going around calling one thing a brand name. So British people do the same thing that Americans do, like with Q-tips or Band-Aids, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. We need to break away. We need to break away from the Brits and just stop doing that crap. We'll just start the American language. It's just pure slang. Just chaos. Just chaotic slang.
Yeah, but see, we're already doing that slowly.
Yeah, oh, yeah, we're doing it.
Yeah.
It's happening, bruh.
Yeah. That's why there's so many differences between the language and even...
That's right. We're the breakaway. Actually, you know what's weird? I hold on. Before I lose my train. I had a professor who claims that the way that hillbillies talk, that accent, so like just the deep Appalachian like hillbilly slang, the way that they talk, he claims that is how the British sounded 300 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Like that is the correct British accent.
I've heard that.
Yeah.
I've heard that,
and he had
that
like
theory before.
Yeah, he had tons of evidence to like back that up, and I was like, you're probably onto something. Like you're probably right. Now, whether or not, I don't know if you ever ran with it or not, but I think that's how British people are supposed to sound. I think they're supposed to sound like total hillbilly.
There is no supposed to sound. Language evolves.
No, I think that's their accent. I think that's their actual accent. So while we might be super nasally or whatever, I think they're supposed to sound like that, and then they just started to break off. They were like, well, we don't want to sound like the Americans, so we'll just start talking about wellies and trunks and stuff. Boots. Wellies and boots.
I mean, I have actually heard that theory before.
What's that?
That what you just said.
Right. That they're supposed to sound like that?
That was the initial accent, and that there's something to do with French and other influences that caused the British people to develop their language accent differently.
Right.
So, but
what's the aquatic morning show? What is that?
I've heard.
They said hi in the chat. I don't know. What's the aquatic morning show?
I've actually heard of it.
You know what's super fun?
But I don't.
You know what's super fun?
What?
Is when, like, people don't invite you to go on their show. You know?
Well, that's most people for me.
It's most people for me, too. We have the same thing going on.
But, I mean, that's like...
People invite me to go on their show, and they're like, yeah, I want to hear what you have to say. And I'm like, are you sure? What?
I don't know. We're just having a show full of
And they're like,
nonsense
"Go off,
today.
kid." And I'm like, "All right." Yeah, if people want to hear me go totally bonkers, go over to the Dr. Black show on Tuesdays.
Yeah.
That's where I go off, kid.
Mm-hmm.
I go off over there.
Yeah.
I don't rant over here too much. Mainly because of, like, my association with other people. Like, I just don't need to ruffle the feathers, like, all that hard.
Mm-hmm.
Although, Lucas, you guys, hopefully people know that I love Lucas, and I'm not trying to get on him. It just seemed like just such a bad idea to go that route with selling a house. It just doesn't seem like that outcome is going to work. Actually, hold on, let me rephrase that. I don't think that the outcome is going to be very positive. Personally, I just don't. Joel G says, I would invite you guys on my show. You should have a show. You should have a show sometime.
Yeah.
And we'll go on it. I go on the Joel G show. When is it? When does it happen? When does it go live? I'm
Joel
going
G
on.
from NZ.
Joel G from NZ, all the way. All the way, live from New Zealand. It's hot. It's fresh. It's the Joel G from NZ show.
I would visit New Zealand.
I want to go to New Zealand real bad, dude. It would be fun. It would be fun.
Only if I get to see
Would you try
at least
would you
17 sheep.
Would you try to Ted Nugent some deer from an aeroplane? From a aeroplane? What the hell? Helicopter.
Ted Nugent some deer from a helicopter.
He shoots like pigs and stuff from airplanes
Oh.
with machine guns.
No, I think that would just make me sad.
They have an overabundance of what is it, red deer or red elk in New Zealand, so they have to cull the herd from like helicopters
Oh.
because they're not even supposed to be there.
Well, from what I know, all the mammals on New Zealand were introduced by humans, and none of them were actually
All
Yes.
mammals,
Yes.
all of them.
Yep.
I don't know if that sounds right.
It was all birds and lizards.
What about where'd the people come from?
They introduced themselves to the islands.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
From where?
Probably from Australia.
But they're mammals,
Right?
right?
Yeah. And they brought with them
Okay.
probably like rats and stuff.
Okay. Are you sure?
It's what I read. It's what the paleontological
Oh,
and
what do you-
anthropological records show.
Were you out there reading books?
Yes.
Reading books. Reading books.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why they don't have the, what is it, the koa? They had this
'Cause I-
huge flightless bird.
I think all of the elk and deer or something originated from in where we live. Right, meow.
Right now.
Yeah. From like, I think it was like 8 elk or deer from Whidbey Island, I think.
Dang.
So I think humans, hold on. Hunted deer and elk into...
Oh, Aquatic Morning Show is manes, tails, fur, and fins. The same person.
Oh, same person. You've never invited me on your show, and I'm pissed. You should email me, and I'm going to come on your show and be not pissed.
They just said, I would love for you to join us.
Oh, see, there you go.
So yeah, send an email. Is it? No, it's not there.
Because I think it was Alaska. I gotta find this. So I think Alaska, they hunted everything into... I think they hunted everything to extinction, and there was like 8 elk or whatever. God, I'm gonna have to look this up. Maybe somebody has the link for it, but it would take a minute to look it up. I forget where it was. It was like 8 elk from Washington State that like repopulated Alaska. Is that right? I don't know. I forget. But I'm going to have to look that up later. Yeah, I guess. Rats, cats, and elephants, but sure, as you're born, the loveliest of all was the unicorn. Do they even have a unicorn there in New Zealand? They probably should get one. I think they should. If they don't, they probably should get one.
What? You're thinking Scotland.
Scotland has unicorns?
Of course.
Why?
Because that's their country flag animal.
Scotland?
Yeah.
Scotland has a unicorn on their flag?
Yeah, man.
I'm looking this up. On their flag. Let's look it up. What is known as James II wholeheartedly embraced the legend which a unicorn became the symbol of purity. Oh my god, they do have a well, maybe. Where's
It's the what, state animal or whatever of Scotland.
the national flag of Scotland is a white X on a blue background. It looks like this.
Yeah, yeah.
That's not a unicorn on their flag, you jerk. You jackwagon. I was like, oh my god, really?
Still their national
It would be
animal.
radical. It is their national animal. Yes, that is correct. There apparently are deep ties with the unicorn to Scotland, so you are 100% correct on that. But I was like,
Right.
I swear to God, I've seen the Scottish flag and there was no unicorn on
It's
it.
because the lion is the English animal. And the unicorn is historically the only animal that beats the lion.
Okay, well, the Royal Banner of Scotland has a lion on it. So
Well,
it looks like this. Lion. This is their royal banner. A lion.
coming round.
It's right here. That's their royal banner. Yeah. That's it. The Royal Banner of Scotland. A banner showing the royal arms of Scotland is often called the lion rampant after its chief heraldic device. The banner is properly of the monarch, and use without authority can constitute a criminal offense. So I can't put it on the screen, guys. I don't have permission. I don't have permission to show the royal coat of arms of Scotland. So they have lions also. They're not that far from the British. I understand Scottish people would be super mad, and I get it. You guys have been fighting forever, and I respect that.
they're just to the north.
I respect that whole thing. And I don't think that the British did anything nice to the Scottish at all, so I'm not excusing any of that. But I'm saying they also have a lion on their banner, is what I'm saying, that they're like not that far off as far as their flags and ancient historical representation seems to have a lot of lions also. That's what I mean.
Right. It's just kind of it's like a whole thing.
Jake Vargo says you may be thinking of the Pennsylvania or Kentucky elk reintroduction efforts. It's here's the thing. Like I went to the elk exhibit in Alaska, and okay, let me break it down for you. My God. About 6 years ago, Vicky and I went to the elk and moose historical thing. What are you doing? Proving what?
That I'm not at my house
Oh my God!
and knocking everything over.
Oh, don't worry about that. Just leave it there. I gotta clean it up. I gotta pack that stuff up in a little bit, so it really doesn't matter.
It's easier when it's all over the floor.
It is. It just goes right in the box.
Yeah.
No, so Vicky and I, we went and we were at the there's an elk museum there, and a habitat and a interactive walk and whatever. It's like this. Hey, here's a moose. We have a moose, and an elk and a deer. They have a bunch of them.
Right.
And they're like, these are all related. And you're like, aha, I knew it. You know? And but there's a big part there that was talking about the reintroduction of elk came from the 8 remaining elk that were like on Whidbey Island in Washington.
Wow.
It was like,
There's so many elk now.
yeah, they
That's
had
crazy.
like hunted all of them or something. And like I said, I'm gonna have to look it up, and I'll look it up if we're doing a show on Monday. I'll look it up and try to follow up on that. Let me put it on my show notes so I remember. Monday, follow up on the elk thing about reintroduction. That's not right. Reintroduction. No, that. I don't know. That word doesn't look right, but we'll figure it out later. I put it on my show notes, guys. Oh my God! Speaking of the show notes, become a YouTube member today. Excuse me.
Internet.
Yeah, internet. Become a YouTube member.
Surprises.
Surprises. Oh my God. Who was it that was asking about the lore with the surprises thing the other day? Like, why don't you do that anymore? And I'm like, because when I would go out into public, people would scream it at me, and then they would want me to yell it at them or their kids or whatever. And I just like, this is weird. I'm gonna stop doing that. Yep.
That's right. Stop going out in public.
I'm gonna stop doing both. Yeah, agreed. A long time I was convinced that Alyssa was coming in live from her house until one day she walked into Corvus background and my mind was blown. Yeah, she's legit here. Although when we move, we'll probably figure out a remote way to do it. I need to buy some different software licensing. But we'll figure that out.
Yeah. Probably, maybe, sometimes. So I can bring you some more snails.
Yeah, I mean, it's a matter of, like, scheduling. It's a bit of a drive. Although the drive's, like, really not that bad. I think it's probably...
From my place, it's like
From
an
your
hour
place-
and 40 minutes.
No, it's less than that.
Well,
It's probably...
depends on the time of day.
It's probably an hour from your house. Maybe it might even be less. I'd have to look it up.
Depends on the time of day.
Well, I mean, everything's dependent on the time of day, but I wouldn't be like, come up at 7 a.m. Do it. Wait in the traffics. Yeah, I mean, because if you're coming up at like 10 a.m. or something, you're just going to be driving on the freeway for a while. So,
Yeah.
because I think like from your house to my house now is like 30 miles.
It's 25 minutes to 35 minutes, depending.
Traffic.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
Coming up on the I-5.
Coming up on the I-5, it's bumper to bumper, it's chrome to chrome. We got a 9-car pileup. Turns out there was a trucker who was hammered, and he got nailed, and everybody crashed. And it's a tragedy because, like, 4 people died, and it is very awful, and everybody cried, and we're all sad, and we're not happy about that. Don't drink and drive, especially if you have a CDL Class A with the passenger endorsement and all that stuff for dual trailer driving your truck on the freeway, and then now people are dead and you're going to go to jail for a really long time. Don't do that. Don't do that. Northwest Aqua Hobby. Where did I end up buying? I'm not going to tell you that. Up north.
It's at blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah.
Needless to say, Aqua
it's-
Hobby lives on Whidbey Island. Is that right?
I think. Is
So
that,
Whidbey Island
is that right? Northwest Aqua Hobby?
Whidbey Island is
Confirm.
vague enough. It's vague enough to be like, Whidbey Island. Okay. Needless to say, I'll put it this way. I can drive to the Mukilteo Ferry much faster than I could right now.
You're going to be cutting so much time out of your days going back and forth to work.
It's true.
You excited?
I don't know if it's
Excited for
like
that?
so much time, but it's a lot of
Yeah.
time. But it's a lot. It's like a million billion.
You're going to be like, wow, I have energy.
Where's Jeffrey Bezos?
He's, I don't know, sitting on a giant pile of money in a big mansion surrounded by gold.
I gotta play that song for you. Hold on. Should we listen to it? We're gonna get a copyright strike. We didn't have any super chats today, so. Oh my God, I'm playing something else. Hold on. I'm gonna play the song for you for a second. I'm gonna play the intro. Bo Burnham. We look that up, and then we go. Oh, check this out.
The other thing is if I go up to your place, then I have an excuse to go and just swing by the aquarium co-op just to go look, which is something that I don't get to do anymore.
Yeah, because if you came to the because if you were going up to the aquarium co-op, you could just or stop on the way back or whatever. Then it's totally reasonable.
Right.
So we might do like a once a month thing or what? I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll sort.
No guarantees, you fools. Oh my God! Why can't I just Jeffrey Bezos? Where is it?
Hobby. We know that you didn't actually want the address. We're just teasing you, man.
Oh, hold on! I gotta mute the microphone. Get him! Yeah, we had to mute that
for just like a second.
We had to mute that for a second. I had to play the song, the Jeffrey Bezos song.
Right.
If you guys want to look it up, it's Bo Burnham, Jeffrey Bezos. Yeah. I ended up buying in the north end, north of Everett. So that would be an easy way to explain where. Yeah, just drive around north of Everett. You'll find my new house. New local Austin. Congratulations, Corvus. You really hung tough there. Yeah, it was crazy to try and get a house, dude. It was just insane. I mean, one of the houses we put a bid in on, somebody went 100. Just to give you an idea, somebody went $170,000 over the list price and cash guaranteed. So they put down $400,000 down on the house as their down payment. Because they're like, the gap, we'll cover the gap. We don't care. We're going hard into the paint. We're still financing, but we're going to give them $400,000 down.
That's a lot.
Like, we're guaranteed it. That's a lot of money. You realize you have like $400,000 liquid cash, and it's like, you should be buying a piece of land and building a house on it instead of like battling, forcing other people out. You know, it's wild stuff. You know,
I want to buy this used house. What?
You know, the thing is that like, so a lot of people are like, well, it's obvious like corporations are doing it, and you know, corporations are involved in the housing market for sure. And you know, but the unfortunate thing is that like, there's not a lot of money in for single family units for corporations, right? Like, there's just not a lot there unless it's something that they could buy and subdivide and develop. But then you're realistically interacting with a development company who would just be building more housing for people. So it's kind of like, that's not bad. That's not bad in my opinion. Is like, oh, you take a 3-bedroom house that's sitting on 2 acres that was only going to have one family in it. You develop it into 16 units that have you have a bunch of people living there. Like, right. Oh, okay, you've upped the density. And if they did a good job and everything, it's totally fine. That doesn't bother me.
Mm-hmm.
And like competing with those guys is not the general thing that happens, because those guys will buy before it goes on the list market, right? Because they're buying at auction. So they're buying stuff that has been foreclosed, stuff that's going to be vacant, stuff that's been neglected, blah, 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 that kind of stuff. You're not competing with those guys. And you're definitely not competing with like BlackRock or whatever. Like, they may or may not be buying properties, but they're typically buying properties that have sat on the market for a long time. Now, in Washington State, sitting on the market for a long time is 14 days, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's a long time. To be on the market here is 2 weeks, right? So, but you're not really competing with them. Like I said, the house that we put a bid in on Monday had 9 offers from individuals, not companies. They're individual offers. 9 had 9 offers, all over list by some kind of percentage. And the people that won that house, or I mean, won the house. I guess they won the bidding contest or whatever.
They won the auction on the house.
They went 26% over list price. Right?
Yeah.
And the house was over $600,000 list. So, like,
That's a lot.
Like, okay. What?
Desperation, plus having a lot of money. Or availability for that.
Yeah, I mean, there's just, it's crazy. It's just, it's a level of nuts. And, now the interest rate's going up. They're driving the interest rate up. And it's going to be making some significant jumps here in a little bit. So, it's definitely going to drive people out of the purchasing market, but it doesn't mean that suddenly a bunch of houses are going to be for sale. So that's going to be kind of the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm happy. We got a little bit of land. It's like 1.5 acres, which is like a decent amount of space to deal with. We have a separate building, a house, well water. So that's going to be pretty cool to interact with. We'll see.
Very
we'll
interesting.
see what it's like.
Yeah. A lot different from here.
I'll be testing it. Yep. D-Man 1101 says competing against people moving up from California. The interesting thing with that is that, like, people do move up from California and stuff like that. It's been long. It's been long in Washington, like the bane of basically like conservatives, I think, realistically, because there's a large conservative contingent in Washington state, and to act like they don't live here also is disingenuous. There's a lot of them, and there's a lot of counties in Washington state that are very low population that they control.
Mm-hmm.
Like they put a guy up for governorship to run against the incumbent governor, gubernatorial candidate, from a county that has 1,100 voters, I think it was the number.
That's a small county.
That's a very small county.
Yeah.
1,100 voters in a county?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a very ridiculously small county. He was their local sheriff. The guy was just an awful candidate, but he got a lot of votes. He got a lot of votes because he was the only air quote Republican that was running. It's really one of those things where you go, yeah, there's a lot of conservatives here. They're sort of the people that have ginned up this, the Californians are moving here, and it's like, yeah, do you think Texans are moving here? Like, some Texans move here, some Californians move here, some Vietnamese move here. Like, sure.
I meet a lot of people from Minnesota here.
There are a lot of people that move to Washington. Washington is a very desirable place to live.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it really is. Has a lot going for it economically, has a lot going for it education-wise. The social safety nets here are a little bit better than definitely sort of ridiculous places like Kentucky, for example, there's a lot happening here. There's a lot of good stuff going on here. So people want to live here, and I don't blame them. So it makes it competitive, for sure.
I mean, I moved here.
Yeah, you moved here. It's a desirable place to live, you know? Like, if you like the desert, move east of the mountains.
Yep.
If you like the rainforest, the cold rainforest, move over to the Olympics.
Yep.
Like, if you like living by the ocean, move over there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a lot of good here. It does get frustrating because you're competing with a lot of people that have access to stuff. Like, we visited Missouri, and we spent a while in Missouri because we were out there. We did a mud run fundraiser for the veterans.
Mm-hmm.
And, we were out there, and we went around to a bunch of the towns, and a bunch of the towns there are just dead. They're like, yeah, you know, we used to have a store. We don't have a store anymore. And then it's like, you drive down the street and it's like empty house, occupied house, empty house, occupied house. And they're all up for sale. And, you know, at the time, Vicky and I were looking at it like, maybe we should just cash buy a house here. Because I'm not even kidding you. Like, the nice house on the block that was for sale, they were like, I don't know, it might be a little bit out of your market, blah, blah, blah. Like, that one's kind of expensive. It was $18,000. Yeah. I'm like, you damn well run the credit card on that. We don't need to go to the bank. You got a card reader? You got a credit line that'll just buy that. Like,
Right.
I mean, obviously, I don't want to be paying whatever our credit card rate is. I don't even know what it is, but we don't want to be paying that. But
No. You put it on the points card, and then you just pay it off the next.
then, the next cycle.
Yeah.
So, it is a little bit difficult, but trying to buy up here is incredibly difficult, especially right now. And, you know, I can say like a big perspective of that has to do with a lot of the contractors I know that build homes, that are home builder contractors. They're not like, I'll come and do a remodel and I'll come do this. They're just developing contractors. That's all they do. I was talking to one of my buddies who I've known this guy my whole entire life. I was talking with him a little while ago, and he took over his dad's contracting business, right? You know, his dad retired, you know, probably 10 years ago or whatever, and, you know, he took over and been running the company. And, you know, they crunched the numbers quite a while ago as a company, and they used to build between 120 and 160 houses a year, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you think about that, like 120, 160 in that range every year, new houses they were building. He goes, I build between 12 and 16 homes a year. Right? And you go like, oh, wow, you must be, I guess, like struggling. Like, that's not good. That sounds bad. He goes like, oh, no, I make more money now. And you're like, wait, what? Here's the deal. When they used to build lots of houses, they were building between $200,000 and $300,000 houses, which would nowadays be sold for like somewhere in the range of $350,000 to $550,000, right? But he goes, oh, nowadays I just build like $1.5 million houses. So I build between 12 and 16 of them. We have a smaller crew because we're doing less volume. He has like less equipment, less overhead, all that kind of stuff. But he's building these like higher end homes where they make a lot more money off the top. So he's like, so he goes like, I'm making more money now building less houses. And you go like, if the building contractors aren't even incentivized to up the amount of homes being built, who's going to do it?
Yeah.
Right?
That makes sense. So then it might even be difficult to find a building contractor willing to build your mid-size home.
They'll build you a smaller house. Yeah, if you brought a contractor on to do that. But it's not really efficient to build one house in one location, right? So they're not going to cut you a deal. Whereas like, so the guy I was dealing with or talking with, I don't want to say his name. There's not very many contractors that have his name, so people might be able to figure out who he is. But he goes like, look, I build all these houses right in a row. Like, he's like, I have one building project. It's in one area. We're all the materials, everything's going all to one area. That's where we're working that year. Mm-hmm. Obviously, they're spread out because they're bigger, more opulent properties or whatever. But he's like, look, I make more money doing it this way, right? We all work in one area. We're not driving all around all over the place, all that kind of stuff. We're just going to build these houses and we're going to sell them. You know, and it's like, if the businesses aren't incentivized to do those smaller projects or volume projects, why would they do it? Why, as a business, why would you do that? There's no reason, right? And especially if they're looking long term and they go, let's say we build all these $1.5 million houses on these big properties. If there is incentive to build volume in the future, guess where they're going to do it?
In that same large property?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Because you sell it, and you could come back 8-10 years down the road, and a lot of those people move away, they move somewhere else or whatever, and these expensive properties just sit there. They're going to get foreclosed on. They could buy them at auction, tear them down, and build volume units there, right?
That makes sense.
So, it's one of these things where we have like a cycle of things happening that if you look at it with a magnifying glass of like what's happening right now, you go like, oh, well, that's what's wrong. But people are smart enough to look at like, oh, these are the trends. This is what's happened over the last 50 years. Here's how we just kind of go with the flow. And like, here's how we're going to like maximize the way we're going to make money. And, most everything that was built in the United States was federally backed. Every suburbia that you've ever been to is all FHA loan backed stuff. Between the early 1900s and like the 1940s, everything was backed by the government. They just, oh, you're a contractor. We gotta build these developments. You guys, here's the money. Go build it.
Okay.
0% loans, right?
So then, like the suburb that I grew up in,
Mm-hmm.
back in Minnesota.
Most likely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Where all the homes look the same.
Yep. That's
but
why.
But not exactly the same.
Not exactly. There's some slight changes.
Yeah, you get some decisions you can make.
Right.
And so I can go there and be like, well, that's where I grew up. That is the house where I grew up.
Right. So, like, if you go north of Seattle, you know how you drive past Linwood, Mount Lake Terrace, all those places? Mm-hmm. So if you go into Mount Lake Terrace, is a good example. Edmonds, Mount Lake Terrace, Linwood, that area, that was all developed because of Boeing, right? Because Everett is where Boeing is.
Yeah, yeah.
And in between Seattle and Everett, they said, we need to build housing, but we don't want it to be too close. Because in World War II, they said, we need housing for these migrant workers, right? So if you go up into Mount Lake Terrace, it's really easy to tell because they have all these cinder block houses up there, right? Because the cinder block houses is what they built during World War II, because it's just Legos, you're just building these cinder block houses. They're all exactly the same.
Big, heavy Legos.
Yeah, and every house is all the same. It was all built for these migrant workers to work on the airplanes while World War II was happening. And they were built out of cinder block because concrete was one of the few things that wasn't taken up by the war bonds and everything. Like wood, you couldn't get wood. It was like you could not get wood during World War II. But those houses were built. They were put up. They were all incentivized by state money. The owner of Boeing, hated minorities, and so you can actually go look up the paperwork that says this is not allowed to be sold to black people, Mexican people, Asian people, all that stuff. Like
classic redlining.
Oh no, I mean it's like legitimately like war funded federal money,
right?
Built, redlining like whitewashes it. Redlining like whitewashes the history of. Like let's give it a term so it just sounds like, well, that's not that bad, but back then it was literally like, spoken aloud. This is what we're doing. I own this business, blah blah blah. So, but a lot of America was built like that, where you had these like zero interest loans to contractors to just go build stuff, just build these developments. And
if you build it, they will come.
If you build it, we'll just put them there.
Yeah.
We'll just go over there, go live there, But, that's a big part of, why there's such a lack of sort of planning as far as the United States goes is that, you know, a lot of the stuff was just built at this sort of frantic rate of, you know, grade the land, put in some pipes, start building houses, and go, 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 go.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why a lot of the stuff was just really not well thought out. You know, it's like, if you ever drive through like suburban areas, you realize like the roads were intentionally built windy,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it's one of those things like, why were they built windy? It's like somebody thought that it was like really cool, but it turns out that building those windy roads is actually like incredibly inefficient for creating a space where public transit could be valued, where access could be valued for, guess who, lower income people
Right.
could be able to get around. It was all built in that way specifically so that you would have to be car bound, right? Because guess who was involved? The American automotive industry wanted these areas to be car dependent. Like, so, you know, if you went in and you lobbied and you said, "Hey, we're with Ford Motor Company or whatever, and we want these places to be car dependent. So we need to make sure that they're spread out enough, that they're languishy enough that people would have to buy a car, right?" And those meetings used to happen. And do they happen now? Yeah, probably. They certainly seem to, you know. But you know, we're just out here reaping the unfortunate rewards of the people that came before us. And I think that there definitely needs to be more put into like what we're doing. Not even like from a global perspective, but just from a like, what's the best idea that we could do to develop moving forward. And in Washington State, I'm sure you've seen this, they're building a train that goes up and down the I-5 corridor.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, people got mad at me because I was super critical of that project. I'm like, this is a stupid, 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 stupid project for the time that it's being built, right?
Okay.
If you had built that train that went up and down I-5 in, say, 1995, oh my God, great idea. Great idea. Build this public transit that goes up and down the I-5 corridor that people would be able to ride this train. If you live in Tacoma, if you live in SeaTac, if you live in Seattle, if you live in Everett, whatever, you'll be able to go up and down the corridor. Awesome. Like, that's fantastic. But they're building it right now on the cusp of technological advancement that would be able to increase access for the average person to be able to travel and do the things that they need to do. Now, the automated driving systems are going to happen, regardless of whether we like it or not. Now, the timeline is probably another 10 or 15 years before self-driving cars can actually operate. But assisted driving cars, that exists right now. If you have a road system that can handle assisted driving,
Yeah. Yeah.
so
But if you have a bunch of personal vehicles on the road,
right,
even if they are self-driving, that's still a lot of vehicles on the road.
it's a lot of vehicles on the road.
Which does not help with the whole traffic congestion.
Actually, it does, because assisted driving cars can communicate with each other in order to adapt the traffic flow.
But people who don't have that
Right.
are not going to be able to communicate with these cars.
Yeah. And guess what? You probably shouldn't be allowed to be on the freeway. I mean, 4 people died on the freeway over here because a drunk guy was driving a semi.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that accident that was up
I
on,
do.
on
I remember.
just a week ago? A week and a half, 2 weeks ago? So there's dead people, all this disaster, all this trouble, because some guy decided to get drunk and drive his semi around, right? Okay. So just on the basis that, like, kind of where I'm coming from here. All those vehicles are destroyed. all those people's lives are destroyed. We lose all the taxes. Even if you just want to talk about taxes, we lose all the taxes those people generate for the next however long, right?
Okay.
The families are disturbed, blah, 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 right? Now, if we go, people that don't have the technology to drive on the freeway, right? They're going to be ousted from the freeway. How could we jump over this hurdle, right? Do we have giant corporations and manufacturing throughout the world where we could incentivize access for people to have like a proper transportation that has low emission to no emission to make these changes, right? We're spending $55 billion on this train.
Mm-hmm.
That equates to $440 per person per year in Washington State. That's how much each person is paying for the next 30 years.
Okay.
Right? And we go, there's no way we could do a giant project where we incentivize people to have the right technology in order to adapt traffic to operate better, right? There's just no way, except we're spending $55 billion on a train to potentially get 60,000 cars off of the freeway, right? That's their estimate, is to get 60,000 cars off of I-5, right? We're spending $55 billion to get 60,000 cars off the freeway.
I am pro both things.
Oh, I like trains. I love trains. I think trains are fantastic.
Options.
I think trains are fantastic. I think trains are amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I love trains.
I do wish that the train was already here.
It's not.
I know.
We also have to take into account the environmental impact of all of the rebar, concrete. The concrete that is going into this project will blow your mind, right? It's enough to rebuild I-5 like 3 or 4 times over out of concrete.
Which, in my opinion, needs to be done because that road is trash.
It's not this I mean, it's the only artery, right?
Right.
So one of the issues that we have is that this Interstate 5 is the only artery that goes up and down, north and south.
Right.
Right?
I mean, unless you're going to, like, squeeze over onto 99.
Well, you can't, because
It's not even, it would take you so long.
Just go look up on a map how wide the land is between, as you go through Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
It's this wide. It's like this. There's a postage stamp. There's not enough land there to make a bigger road, right?
Right.
And all of the studies from building a bigger road just means more traffic goes there,
mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
More traffic just goes to where the bigger roads are. So it doesn't actually help congestion.
Right.
Which is why my opinion was, if you're going to take $55 billion and not expand the bus system, to not expand the actual transit system that currently works, which is buses, right? Electric buses can drive around and have low emission. They can go into neighborhoods.
Mm-hmm.
They can drive everywhere.
Yep.
You can pretty much go everywhere with a bus, right?
Yep.
You could have bought $20 billion worth of electric buses, hired people to drive them around, and just start moving people around. And how much does it cost to ride the bus? $0. How much does it cost to ride the bus?
It's like, it depends.
No. Right now it costs money to ride the bus.
Right.
New electric buses just charge $0 for them. Take $5 billion of that $55 billion, right?
Mm-hmm.
And just pay for people to ride the bus.
Right.
How much is the bus? It's free. Get on it. Ride. Go over there. Right? Who are you? I don't know. A human. Get on the bus. Right now, you have to, like, identify yourself to go on the bus. You either have, like, a fast pass or have some cash and not get change for it. Because, like, there are times where they charge you $2.25 to ride the bus. And if you don't have a quarter, you have to put $1 into the thing, and they don't give you change.
Mm-hmm.
They used to give you change a long time ago, but nowadays they don't give you change anymore. They're just like, well, thanks for the donation, I guess.
Right. You have to load up your Orca card.
Right.
But you have to do that before you get on the bus.
Yeah, or you have to load up.
You can't do it from your phone for some reason.
Yeah, or you have to load up your card.
Yeah.
You have to have a credit card. Like what? You know.
Mm-hmm.
we're paying for it. We're paying for the train, right?
Right.
Like, why aren't we paying for there to be less cars on the road right now?
Right.
Oh, we're going to pay for less cars to be on the road in 2038, I believe, is the first time that the train will run. Really? So 16 years from now. But Olivia will be full grown and off of college by the time the train starts running. So, and people go like, well, I'm a fan of trains. I am a fan of trains. Yes. Of course, I am. Yeah, 100%. Right. But this is just a terrible waste. This is a terrible waste considering the technology that we have now. And, like, the buses exist. You could just be building them. You could just be buying them and building them and putting them into service. You could just, and the improvements that could happen on the freeway so that automated driving cars or assisted driving cars would be incentivized for people to be in traffic, because you could take the carpool lane and the lane next to it, and those be the automated driving lanes or whatever, right? There's a way that you could figure it out with the current freeway that we have to get those cars to run more efficiently because of assisted driving. We have GPS in every car. I mean, everyone has GPS in their car. Everyone has GPS in their car via cell phone.
So here's the thing with buses. Buses are great. I understand that. Buses are significantly slower than cars because they're also in the traffic. And also because they have like 800 billion stops as they go.
Okay.
Trains are significantly faster than cars.
Yeah, but when they stop between Tacoma and Everett, there's supposed to be 35 stops. So how fast is that train going to be?
I don't know the answer to that.
Right.
But I do know that going from Tacoma to Seattle is at least twice as fast as me driving from Tacoma and Seattle through traffic.
Right.
And that is...
But that's with traffic considerations, right?
Right,
so
which is when most people are commuting.
So if you reduce traffic, that would speed travel time, or...
Supposedly.
Well, I mean, it's not necessarily supposedly, but, like, we're all carrying around a system in our pocket that could be adapted for the bus system and the bus needs if you had more buses and a system that was actually operating for the needs of the people, right? So let's say that there's 100 people from my neighborhood that need to go up to Seattle every morning. And via an online app or via an online communicated system with the bus people, I need to be in Seattle by 9 o'clock. You could go onto the app and say, here's where I live. This is where I'm going. Where's my bus?
Right.
Right now, the buses all run static. They have a route, and they just drive around in a circle all day back and forth, right? Whereas right now, that's how the buses work, and the buses are slow because of that, because the bus has no idea where you're going or why you're going or when you're trying to go there. Well, guess what system exists? I don't know, rideshare, Uber, whatever car service you call to get you to go somewhere. Yeah, we have the technology to integrate that stuff within a bus system that would know where you need to go. Hey, you need to be over here at this bus stop at 8:14 because the bus is going to be there, right? So walk over to the bus stop, get on the bus. It'll take you up, and you'll be in Seattle by 9 o'clock because of predictive technology. It would know this is what the traffic pattern currently is, right? Which, by the way, I can put that into my phone right now.
Yeah.
Right? Google Maps does that. It says, hey, you need 47 minutes to get to Alyssa's house. So if you're going to be late, maybe alert them. Let them know, hey, traffic sucks. It says I'm going to be there in 47 minutes. Oops, my bad. Normally it takes 20 minutes or whatever, right?
Right. So it would be kind of like the Microsoft or T-Mobile transporters that I see around.
Yeah, probably. But, like, we have the technology right now. There's no investment into it is the problem. Right? Because, like, Microsoft has to be incentivized. You have to give them money, and then they sell you ads and all this crazy stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like, the reality is Washington State could be developing this right now because we have $55 billion for a train, right? Like, we have the motivation to do it. People are clearly motivated to vote for these types of systems.
And we
right.
have the technological sectors here.
Right. The tech sector is here. Mm-hmm. But the problem is that Amazon is going to do this, right? Amazon is going to solve this problem when they figure out how to make money off of it, right? Hey, with your Amazon Prime bus pass, you can ride any of the Amazon Prime buses.
Right.
Amazon Prime. Jeff Bezos is in your transportation now. Right? And it's just going to be like another opportunity for the corporations to take over your autonomy, right?
Yet another step towards the company town.
It's just another step towards the company town. Oh, you don't have the Amazon bus pass. Oh, sorry. I guess you better go home and sign up for a $200 a year annual membership to the Amazon Prime bus pass, right? And then now you're no longer going to sign up for the Orca pass, which you were paying for before, right?
Yeah,
because Amazon will just say you can ride the bus whenever you want, baby, as long as you got Amazon Prime. Ride the bus. And then Jeffrey Bezos has got another hand in your pocket.
Yep.
And he never sent me that $1 million check, that liar. Even though he never signed up and never said that. It's just I'm literally making a joke. Don't sue me to death. Don't murder me. Don't murder me, please.
Yeah. Don't murder you with suing.
But yeah, like, that's why I'm like, these types of things are a fucking problem that need to be addressed by the people, us poor people. Us like regular old idiots that are like, what? Why are we being so brutally taken advantage of? And it's like, are we playing the long game or are we playing the short game? You know, I don't know.
Right.
Thank you very much for coming today, Alyssa. I love you to death. I know that you're going to argue with me later about what we were talking about today, and I like that. That's good. It's because we're buds. Any fish stuff you need to drop on people?
Feed your fish, man.
Feed your fish, bro. It doesn't take long. We talked about that earlier.
Yeah, they like it when you feed them.
I want to say thanks to everybody for hitting the like button. Nobody became a member. I advertised the crap out of becoming a member today, guys, and nobody became a member.
Yeah,
I think we lost.
I don't know.
I think we lost 2 members today.
We rambled a lot today, really far. It was fun though.
Yeah,
it was fun.
Who cares? But if you like more of this crap that we make around here, and you'd like to see it advance, become a member or a patron or a whatever. But as long as you hit the like button, at least you did something, right?
Yeah.
Let's play the music because we gotta go.
Yeah.